25th of July, Thursday, 3:10 I'm left. Horrible meeting. Courtney. Mr. Dawes.
Chris.
Oh yeah, no, it'd be free, yeah. Would you like a drink? Pop it here so we're not sitting opposite you. How are you feeling, Chris? I can tell I think you're clearly upset.
I don't care about that.
Okay. Well, why don't you tell us what? Because I think you've said we want to talk about family time, but I think you have said a few things to Courtney as well that we're really worried about.
You.
We want to because you were saying that you haven't got long left, and I think you need to be really open with us, Chris, so we can help you to help see the children. I know this is not an ideal situation. Please don't think I'm pretending that it is. I'm not. But if something's happening, we need to know to help you. Can you tell us what's going on with your health, and then we can talk about family time, because I think we're worried.
On the morning of the last court, when I was having a bath getting ready, I found a lump. It was small then. It's massive now. It's not going to be good for me. And NHS are taking their sweet time not doing nothing.
So have you been to the doctors?
Yes.
There's a waiting time.
Why would you not think I haven't?
I don't. It's not
Well, then
that.
don't waste time asking obvious questions.
Are
I'm
they
a full adult that
investigating?
you believe in yourselves that I am not capable of doing anything. That's your mistake.
So what did the doctor say then? They referred you for a scan, sorry.
Nothing yet.
Okay. I mean, this is really personal, but have they commented on it getting bigger, or because I'm not on
Come
it,
back later.
Is that what they said?
have you escalated, like pushed it up, saying that? Because I obviously don't want to mess.
I have, of course I have.
So how are you? Is it having a? So right now you've found a.
Right, can we move on from it? It is what it is, and I'm dealing
but
with
if
it
you're
with the way
saying-
I can.
Okay, all right.
Would you like us to try and escalate it for you?
Hell
so
no.
you can get seen? No?
Hell no.
Okay, I mean, so do we want to talk about family time, Chris? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I suppose...
Why haven't I had the reports that I've requested? Why am I being refused them now?
What
reports?
Sorry.
From the family time.
We can get them sent
Yeah,
to
so
you.
they...
Too late now because I needed them for court for the deadline for the evidence.
The family time recordings get filed to court, and as you're representing yourself, that bundle...
That's not what it appears to be going on for the court, and it would not have been fair for me not to have had them. You should have given them when I asked for them. I asked the staff who were writing them. They said yes. They said they would ask. It took weeks of me asking them, and still nothing. And then I get told just the other day that it's not going to happen.
Well, I can raise with our solicitor that you would like a copy of all the family time recordings, because that is something that the family time supervisors can't give that to you directly. It has to go via the court. But I can make that request. But that I suppose is a separate issue to what we wanted to talk about today. I
How is
suppose,
it?
Chris, I'm curious, because the issue today is talking about the reason as to why we've had to suspend your family time.
And I'm
again.
telling you why.
Well, you haven't.
You haven't.
just did.
You've spoken about. Well,
Yeah, that was one of the main things that I was asking for.
I think they're worried
And
about
why I
what
was
happens
upset.
during family time.
The conversations that you were having with Melissa
About her being old enough to ask for her own legal advice and legal representatives, because everybody she keeps repeating are ignoring her. She's not getting any responses. Everyone keeps brushing her off as either damaged child or she's too autistic to know better. And she hates everybody because of it, and I don't want her to grow up like that. And you guys are contributing to that consistently by allowing Emily's abuse to continue when we brought it up over 7 years ago, and we were basically ignored.
Well, Chris, she's got a guardian, so when she meets with a guardian, she can talk.
They don't meet with her.
They
Do you know
will
how
meet
many
with her.
times they've met with her? Go on. Do you know how many
I don't
times?
know without looking at the guardian's
Less
report.
than 5. Do you know what the number is? Should find out.
Chris, I suppose from my perspective, and I hear what you're
She
saying
wants to
about-
talk to the judge and tell her what's been going on, but you guys have made out that I was brainwashing everybody so that she wouldn't get the chance to.
I mean,
That was your deliberate attempt to get another win over us in court and get more
I think,
ability of belief.
Chris, if we just say what we're worried about is during that family time, you've gone against what's in the agreement again. You've talked about the care proceedings, Courtney. You've talked about things that you know.
You mean I was challenged on them?
But you shouldn't be talking to the children about them.
And I suppose for me, Chris, I'm curious because this isn't the first time. You know what our
Yeah, because we
expectations
brought it up to you and you keep refusing to acknowledge that we all need to have a conversation so you understand my children properly. That you don't ignore them when they actually ask you these questions like you keep ignoring
Chris,
me.
it wouldn't be appropriate for...
Of course you've got that excuse.
Oh, it wouldn't, because
that
this
is
the
an
way you're talking to
excuse.
us.
You are ignoring my children.
But the people in
You're ignoring
but
what
Chris,
they are asking for, and they are more depressed than ever that everybody is squashing down and doubling down just to protect yourselves, just protect your
Can I
careers.
ask though, Chris?
That's all it is.
Can I ask though, Chris, when you're talking to, on this occasion, Melissa, but sometimes also Emily, when you're talking to them about your view towards the proceedings, the professionals,
A lot of people have
if you could let
lied.
me finish, please, because I'm about to ask a
Those
question.
people have lied, and that's what we're
But you
discussing
never-
because
when
my
you're
children ask about
If
it.
you could let me finish, please, Chris.
That's what my children ask about.
When you're talking to them about your views and these things and saying that all professionals lie...
No, I haven't said that.
Chris,
You keep implying that.
Chris,
No, shut up for a second.
No, Chris,
You
if
keep
continue
no,
like
shut
that,
up.
I'm
You
gonna end the meeting.
you keep inciting that I keep going on against every authoritative because that's the angle you've convinced the judge. That's the truth.
That's not
That's
the truth.
not true.
Chris,
I have
Chris,
never
Chris,
said that, and
why
I
don't
have
you go outside for 5 minutes
I've
and then we'll continue
deliberately.
somewhere?
Then let me finish my.
But you're shouting at us.
Then
and we're
let
not
me
gonna shout at it.
finish.
But you're not letting
But
Courtney
you
finish.
have
Let
to
me
let
finish
me finish
because
what I'm
you
saying,
no
Chris.
because you are completely wrong. You are completely
My
wrong, and you will not
question-
let me have that ability to put you right.
But you're saying your view to the children during the family time, which you know you shouldn't be
And my
doing.
question is, what is your intention when you do that with the children? Because all it does is it makes their relationships more difficult with the people that are trying to
Can I
help
just
Sonia and them.
refer again to your point that you made, that you were wrong on? You keep inciting that I am convincing the children that all authoritative figures are
Not-
wrong, are bad, or are deliberately against us, whatever you want to twist it to. And I keep telling you, and everyone else, that is not what's happening. But you keep implying it. You have got it doubled down in your heads. That's the only way.
So let's remove the
It's
word
not
all.
true.
So, but what you have done is you've spoken to the children about the court lying, me as the social worker lying,
There's
the family
lies,
time
yeah.
supervisors lying, the schools lying. So that you've spoken about, which encompasses the majority of the professionals that surround your children at the moment.
No,
and
it doesn't.
I'm curious.
No, it doesn't.
So outside of
Actually, it doesn't.
what other professionals currently are trying to support your children outside of those professionals?
I don't know with the school one specifically
So,
because I haven't met them in person,
so-
but they were doing a grand job, and now they've been trailed off because Emily's been allowed to be emotionally
But
more
my
upset
question
with for issues with
is
school,
what is
and
your
you've backed it up by
What
not
is your
pushing them back to school.
intention? What do you hope to achieve with Melissa and Emily in having those
A
conversations
clear
with them?
understanding that they're not being fairly represented, that the truth that they imply is not being represented in court by those who are representing them, and they need to talk to them.
But Courtney,
And
But
what
you
do you-
keep
and what-
refusing to allow
And
that
what
to
do you
happen.
think the impact of that is on Melissa and Emily in making
Much
them believe
more,
that is the case?
much more belief in those authoritative figures who should be listening to my children in the first place.
So what authority figures
No,
your
do you
children
grasp
have
that? Do you
I
grasp? No,
can't think.
Chris,
right.
it's detrimental. What
So
you're
just
doing is
explain
detrimental.
to me what I've just said then.
So you, in your view, in telling the children that certain professionals are lying.
No,
whatever
that's
way-
not what I've just said. What
So
I
you're
just
saying
said.
you're
You said they're not being
increasing-
honest,
Yeah, they're
yeah.
not being
No,
honest. And that
What
you're
I've just said that they're not
Right,
being
Chris, if you're not going to let Courtney
represented.
talk, you're going to
They're
have to
not
leave.
being represented fairly, and lies are being told.
And my question
That's
is,
what I said.
And
Chris,
my-
that's
Right,
your
not
view.
authoritative figures. The stuff that is being said about what they are supposed to be said on their behalf. That is the
Chris, are you
mistakes
gonna let Courtney
that is
respond?
the mistakes that are
Chris,
going
are you
on,
going to let Courtney
and
respond
therefore
or
it's
not?
difficult for my children to have any confidence in any authoritative figures. They do not trust you because you've implied other things that they have read
But-
from the court.
Chris.
Now, did you want my children to understand what was
Chris,
going
you're not
in
letting
court?
us respond. Chris, are you going to let
Yes.
me and Courtney respond or not?
This
Because
has
if not,
to
I'm
be
going
a
to end the
two-way
meeting.
conversation if this is
At
going
the
to
minute,
be
you're just
productive.
shouting at us and talking to us. So what's it going to be? We're going to continue the meeting and Courtney responds?
I'm waiting for your response.
So my concern is that you sharing that view with them firstly isn't appropriate because they're taking on greater responsibility for this situation than they should be for
Okay,
their
but
age.
they have asked. They have asked.
But you're not letting Courtney finish.
But they have asked.
But you're also
Without
when- but
me
you've
implying
also been
anything.
advised on numerous conversations during that family time to move the conversation on, and you're ignoring that. I need to be really clear, Chris, because we've already had to suspend your family time prior to this.
Yeah, you could have had the conversation the other day, and I could have still seen my babies today.
That's not my responsibility. I am
No,
not
of course
Chris,
it's not your
no,
responsibility
because
because
I'm
you
not
don't care
responsible.
about
I am-
working with us.
Chris,
You
I
care
am
about
not-
punishment
But
and looking good.
Chris,
I
they
am
could
not-
hear you shouting in
No,
reception.
no, they couldn't.
They could.
They
They
couldn't.
They could.
She was in the office across the room.
Yeah, she
And
could
then
hear
she
you.
could hear
That's
you.
not downstairs in reception, so get it right.
They could hear you.
Get it right.
Regardless, people
They had the
outside
door
the
wide
room.
open. Of course they
But
could
do you think
hear
that's
us.
appropriate, Chris, to be
It
talking about...
echoes in that
Chris,
place.
are you going to respond? Do you think it's appropriate to be talking to the children
It
about...
echoes in that place, so any sound travels to their room, in their office,
I
where
mean-
they were, which isn't a
Can
public area, so no one was able to hear
But
it or
Chris,
able to
when-
complain other than staff who weren't happy.
So when Courtney has shared the views of the children to the court, she has explained what they've said to her. I don't know their views right now, but in the past they've clearly said they want you to return home. So that is clear, that's what they've said. What you're not happy with is Courtney's, there's clear information from professionals that you're not happy with, referrals and etc. And then Courtney's analysis. So what you're doing is undermining the local authority to the children. But Courtney has represented their views. She said they want to go home, but
And
she has her own view
And
as a
it
professional.
and it's a contradiction, Chris, because on the one hand,
What you
you're-
just said I don't agree with about half of it. Some of it's true, but then a lot of it is layered with the BS that you want to dress it up with. So
Okay,
no,
well,
I don't believe
I'm
it.
sorry you feel like that because our goal is to work together and we want to be able to support you to see
Really?
the children.
Tell the truth about the hospital then.
Chris-
What happened with George
Chris, I'm not
covering...
going to go back to this. I didn't.
There you go. There you go. You don't want to
because
work with
it's
me.
findings have
You
been
have a
made.
criminal right in the midst, right? He
Findings have
did
been made by
something
the court. I'm not
evil
going to go back to this.
to
We're
a
going to go back to
baby,
family
and
time.
you keep ignoring it.
We're going to go back to the family.
I
time.
offered you the evidence, and you
We're
refused
gonna
to
go
look
back
at
to
it.
family time.
Can I ask?
You
Chris,
said you don't care what your staff do.
No,
You
I
said
did not
that.
say that.
Yes, I did. Yes, you did, because it was recorded,
Okay, all right then.
and I've already shown
Are we going
the
to go back to
lawyers.
family time or shall I end the meeting?
I've shown the lawyers, so you
but
can't
the
deny
findings have
it.
been made by Judge Walker. Them findings have been made by the family court that you haven't currently appealed and have lost time to appeal.
I have appealed.
You haven't.
I have
Okay.
appealed, and it's been ignored.
Chris, can I ask? If on the one hand you're telling the children whatever it is that you say about me as their social worker, how do you
I've
then? How
tried
can I finish?
Positively
How do
to
you
get
then-
them to work with you, and you keep disappearing, not being available, or you seem to have a different opinion of the situation that involves me being responsible.
How do you
That's how
then
you keep
expect me
holding
to go
the
in and
system.
support your family if on the other hand you're having disparaging conversations about me and
Why don't we get it all off our chests, how my daughters feel about the situation properly, and you're going to jump straight on it and say no, that's not appropriate or whatever, but other people in your profession in this room when we've had the meeting have said it was a good idea, and only you two kept
I do not
refusing
think
it.
it's good to meet up.
It doesn't care what you think,
you
it
raised-
cares what my daughter
Chris,
and
you
her
have
daughters think.
ever been able to have
Do
it and
you
manage
care
conversations
what
with
my
them?
daughters think?
I do care what your daughters think.
Right,
I
then
don't
act
think
on
that
it.
You are able to
Act
manage.
on it.
I don't think you're
I
able to
don't
manage
think
the
you're able to
meeting.
manage yourself appropriately, which is why we can't.
I'm
facilitate it. I
frustrated
massively care about what your
because
children
you
think.
do not act on what my daughters keep pleading.
But we can't act on. We can't just do. I know
You
this
don't
is-
have the
Chris, you can let me- you
discussion,
can let
so
me-
what do you
Chris, you can
know?
let me respond, okay? I know I'm not going to sit here and pretend. I'm not saying that.
Okay, then don't pretend,
but
tell
I'm
the
trying-
truth.
What I'm saying is, regardless of what the children feel they want, we right now do not feel it's best interest of the children
Okay.
to have you at the property, and you know the reasons why that is.
Could you
And
give
they're
me
fine.
like a round number, not a specific number, but a round number of how many times the children have passed requests on through the carers at visitation times. Can you give me a rough number?
What kind of request? Sorry.
It doesn't matter. Just that they've asked for them, and those staff have said they've sent you emails, and they've confirmed with. Well, if you'd open your emails, you would be aware.
Okay, Chris, I do check my emails. So
well, clearly you don't, because you're denying it.
What I would say to this is, instead of actually...
Have they not got your email, the carers?
Chris, I don't think we're moving forward here.
No, I just want to make sure.
They have.
Right, so they have. So when they showed me on either their phone...
I won't get into this.
Okay, no, listen. Okay. They've shown me on their laptop, email sent.
Well, the only emails we'll have sent is, I don't know, I can't think of the top of my head.
About family time in the community.
Which we wouldn't.
All of the stuff, there was many of them throughout the entire time.
How can we agree to progression when we're concerned about
because you keep ignoring these fundamental things that are part of the issue that you want to punish me for, but not acknowledge.
My view towards this, Chris, is if you really care about what Melissa and Emily want, actually, I think
you're going to go there. Try that card.
I think that
emotionally blackmail me.
You should consider the work that's been recommended for you, because the reason that we can't move
forward
is because
that recommendations came from people that have already been proven to be wrong, but you wouldn't allow it to be in court because you keep dismissing it. Okay. What are the findings from the sexual risk person? Because
we're not on about that.
No. Findings weren't made. They weren't even pursued in court.
They were pursued in court. They were checked. I handed over my stuff under a court order. That happened because there was nothing. But your team and the Guardians were still filing for it. Several courts and the Guardians were still filing for it. The judge at the time before Judge Walker, the one who set up everything that all parties agreed that we would have a fair day in court with witnesses and evidence presented, before Judge Walker had it brought to her attention, taken it over, he told your lawyers that you could not keep pursuing the child molestation or the child paedophilia stuff, whatever you want to call it, the sexual risk stuff at all, and there would not be any kind of injunctions brought to it.
I'm going to ask you to leave.
Well, I'm telling you, I'm finished now, because that was my point.
But the findings were made for the work for you to complete.
Do you acknowledge what happened there?
We didn't make any findings around it.
Do you acknowledge, yes or no, do you acknowledge everything that I've just said that you tried to cut me off on?
I feel like you're trying to control what I say, and I'm not.
No, I just want you to be respectful and just have this
I'm going to end the meeting because you're not
one-time conversation where we get off this subject.
The thing is, Chris, fair doesn't mean agreeing with what you say. And
no, I don't care about agreeing. I just want to know, do you have this information?
You won't let it move on
because you treat me as if it doesn't exist.
No, I do. You gave your information. You gave your what device that were available.
Right.
There was one that wasn't available.
So how come your legal team was still pursuing it?
They weren't when we had.
They were because a judge told you guys not to.
Oh, we didn't. We got the report, the sexual risk assessment. We had the evidence matters, and we didn't pursue any findings against you. That's the end of it.
Right. Do you want me to bring the court paperwork in that I've had printed and sat on my shelf? No, please answer my question.
The care proceedings
you see, you cut me off there, and then you want me to not do the same to you. And it's really unfair. Would you like to see the court paperwork?
No point.
We've seen the court paperwork.
I don't think you do, because you went against the court order.
Okay, I think we need to...
So you either know that that court order that I keep referring to...
I think we need to refer back to the family time.
Yes, please do, because it involves this court order.
The bottom line, Chris, if we cannot have family time that does not include... Your family time is not designed to be discussing the proceedings, the rest of it, your view towards me. That is not what your family time is designed for.
I've actually tried to say positive things about you on occasion when you was actually starting to help a little bit, but then you backtracked in court and you were saying such horrible things about me. Yes, you did.
It's our evidence.
Yes, you did. And because then I was defending myself, you doubled down.
No, Chris.
Do you want me to show you the timeline I've got ready to put on the internet? It's all detailed videos and audio.
Why would you put that on the internet?
No, it's not on the internet.
But this is what
it's ready for the internet.
Why would it be ready for the internet?
Because of that court order that you guys keep refusing to acknowledge, that has been broken, that now the judge seems to be a little bit concerned about, that needs to be readdressed. Let me finish, please. Let me finish. The court order that now Judge Walker is aware of, may put a few more things into perspective, because that was supposed to supply evidence from all of these interactions from your specialists, from any meetings. It's a court order.
No, they're not.
It's a court order.
No, they clearly told me, I was there. Parents and assessment psychological do not agree to record meetings, and I was present, Chris.
Yeah, and what did the judge pass on her court order?
That she can't force them to record the meeting.
That's not what she said.
It was. I was there.
No, it's not what she said.
Chris. We're not going to be able to.
Which judge are you talking about?
I can't remember the judge at the time, but I was very clear, because I don't have any say or jurisdiction about who records meetings. These are independent assessments. I can't say you need to record. That's against.
But they wrote
right.
lies down in one of them specifically, and another one went down the personal opinion of a medical diagnosis of autism as a defence way to explain that there's something wrong with me, so that you guys had ammunition. No, but they were wrong, because I've had an assessment that says I don't have autism.
You haven't, not
I have.
An
it is an assessment. It's a medical assessment.
It's a questionnaire.
It's a medical assessment that proves if I need to have a further assessment.
Yeah, you've done the initial screen.
It's
that's not an assessment.
And it proves that I scored too high to even come near it.
But Chris, that's not.
One of the points is a default point.
In terms of family,
it doesn't count.
We need to get to a point where we can be assured that you're not
will I get
go into family time.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'll make a deal with you.
Listen to what I'm saying. We need to, as part of this meeting today, get to a point where we can be assured that you're not going to have inappropriate conversations with Emily Mitter or any of the younger three about the circumstances as they stand. I need to be really clear, Chris, that if that cannot be agreed, or if it's agreed to go to have a third week, the local authority has to make a further application to stop your family time. Because we have now been in this position several times.
No, not several times. No, you implied it on the first time.
I've had several conversations.
You implied it on the first time.
But Chris, that's where your view's different to ours, isn't it?
You implied it on the first time.
This is certainly not the first or second conversation that we are having about
Judge Walker doesn't want to listen to the audio. She just wants to agree with you.
About the nature of the conversations that you're having with the children. So
right, the nature of the conversations need to be addressed so that they stop being an issue.
So are you saying you can't go to family time and not?
My children keep bringing it up. What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to ignore them? Am I supposed to tell them not talk about these concerning issues that they have?
I listen to what you're saying.
Is it wrong for me to advise them to reach out and talk to Courtney?
But that's not what you said.
No. I just asked the question. Could you answer it?
But yeah, that's good, but you didn't do that.
I have done that.
That's not
I have done that, Courtney. Why do you shake your head at that?
If you're going to shout, I'm going
I have done that.
to leave because I don't think it's going to get anywhere.
Why do you refuse to acknowledge it? I have done that. Why do you?
Because you haven't.
I have. I can show you the recordings.
Chris,
I have pleaded to you on the phone, and you've just basically turned it into nothing the next time we meet.
Now, okay?
Why do you do that?
Courtney, you leave the room.
Why do you do that?
Chris, I need you to come out, okay?
You guys are so
Chris, we're not.
rubbish going on here.